Look at this. No, seriously, look at this. In the last 20 years, Hollywood has developed a literal addiction. It started as a clever trick to make actors pop off the screen, but it's mutated into a visual virus that is currently draining the life out of modern cinema. It's called Teal and Orange, and if you feel like every movie you watch lately looks muddy, sludgy, or like it was filmed through a dirty aquarium, that is exactly why. Today, we're breaking down the science of why your eyes are being starved for color, the secret 2000 movie that started this plague, and why the quote-unquote 90s look we were just talking about in my previous video is the only cure. Now, to understand this technique, we need to go back to grade school and review color theory. Basic color theory tells us that opposite colors create the most contrast, blue and yellow, red and green, but there's only one pair that rules them all, teal and orange. Why? Because of you. No, not literally you. Human skin tones, regardless of ethnicity, live almost exclusively in the orange and red part of the spectrum. If you want a human being to stand out against the background, the most scientifically effective way to do it is to turn the background blue. In the old days of film, you had to do this with a production design. You painted the wall blue, or you'd put a blue light to the back. You'd put an actor in a blue shirt. But in 2000, everything changed with a movie called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? This was the first feature film to use digital intermediate. Basically, the first time we sucked the whole movie into a computer and told it exactly what colors to be. Suddenly, you didn't need a blue wall or shirt. You just needed a computer, and you could tell it to make all the shadows teal and all the highlights orange. If Roger Deakins invented the tool, Michael Bay turned it into a weapon. In 2003's Bad Boys 2, colorist Stefan Soderfeld pushed the teal and orange look to its absolute limit. It was vibrant, it was expensive, it looked like a sunset that never ended. For about 5 years, this was considered the premium look. If your movie had teal and orange, it looked like a $200 million blockbuster. But then the efficiency monster took over. Studios soon realized that they could use this color grade to hide ugly sets or bad lighting. If a scene looked boring, they just slap a LUT on it, a preset color filter to give that cinematic glow. But here's the problem. When you push the shadows to teal and the highlights to orange, you lose everything in the middle. You lose green, you lose purple, you lose the actual reality of the world. Your brain starts to get bored because it's being fed a two-color diet. This brings us to the mud problem. In the 90s, movies had what we call color variety. Shadows were black, skins were skin color, grass was green, the list goes on. But in 2026, we've entered the era of intangible sludge because digital cameras capture so much data, and because directors are now afraid of true black, they lift the shadows. They make the darkest parts of the frame a murky teal-gray color. When you combine lifted shadows with the teal-orange mandate that seems to exist, you get a muddy image that has no weight. It feels like you're watching a screensaver. And it's getting even worse because of the Marvel effect. When you have like 20 different VFX houses working on one movie, the easiest way to make all their different CGI look the same is to wash the entire movie in a gray teal filter. It's visual glue. It hides the seams, but it kills the soul. So is the teal and orange always bad? No, definitely not. Denis Villeneuve uses it, but he uses it with intent. In Dune, the orange isn't just a simple filter. It's the actual world he's built through the way he shot and graded his work. It's a combination of on-set lighting, specific camera modifications, and intentional color grading. Again, it's about the world he's trying to build. The teal isn't just in the shadows. It's used to illustrate the cold, clinical interior of the spaceships, where the orange is used more to evoke the otherworldly, harsh, scorching, and deadly atmosphere of the desert planet Arrakis, and the Harkonnen world of Getty Prime is black and white, suggesting an unnatural and dehumanized world in some ways. I think the difference between a plague movie and a genius one really comes down to lighting. Something I didn't talk about enough in my last video is the word intention. I believe that digital and modern color grading has allowed some filmmakers to be a little bit lazy. Now, admittedly, I sometimes go out and shoot on my DSLR and aperture priority, so I'm guilty of this too. But I think pre-2000 cinema forced a certain amount of intention and innovation when filming. You didn't have high dynamic range or the ability to shoot in log. And when you use that intention to actually create color contrast with lighting on set, the image feels much more rich, as opposed to modern images that feel much more flat. We are currently starving for visual variety. I think for me personally, I love the way that the movies from the 90s felt and looked. They weren't afraid of colors or deep shadows. They didn't feel the need to make every actor look like they were standing in a permanent sunset or living in a world of shallow contrast. To be clear, this isn't an indictment on all films made today, as there are so many beautiful pieces of art that feel real even when based in a fantastical universe. Movies like The Batman, Dune, Blade Runner 2049, Nosferatu, and many, many more. This isn't to say that there aren't great films today, but it does feel oversaturated with flat and muddy work. And maybe it's my selective memory, but I feel like there were a lot more iconic masterpieces being released back in the day. And truly, if we want all of our movies to feel that way again, we have to start lighting and grading for the world we actually live in right now. Blemishes and all. Inherently, intention! Okay, hold on, I got it. Just keep it going.
3, 2. Be careful hitting those peas. Play.
Peas!
That is
Okay.
going to kill you.
Okay, yeah.
Like, play.
Plague. They had to light them without on sets. I need to do another one.
No.